Greetings, my name is Odin from the Odin's Musings YouTube channel, and I'm here on behalf of Aura Crystals. Today I have for you a very quick earring project that's great for those last-minute holiday gifts, or even something nice for yourself during this winter season. This project uses very few beads and very few shapes, so you don't have to worry too much about overloading your bead stash. You also don't have to make this as a set of earrings. Just a single one of these as a pendant hung on a jump ring is also a very nice gift for friends and family. For this project, you will need 6 6mm bicones, 6 4mm crystal rounds, 2 check glass teardrop beads, size 11 seed beads in one color, and size 15 seed beads in one color. You will also need ear wires if you plan on turning these into an earrings, or a jump ring if you want to hang it onto a necklace chain. You will also need a needle and thread. I'm using a D-weight white Nymo, as well as a size 12 beading needle. Be sure to check down in the description box for the full materials list, as well as links to where you can purchase supplies. And with all that being said, let us get started. So on about a yard's worth of thread, I've strung on one size 11, one 6mm bicone, 2 size 15s, 1 size 11, 1 4mm round, 1 size 11, 2 size 15s, and 1 6mm bicone. My tail is on my left side and my working thread is on my right side. I'm going to move my needle around and pass through the size 11 seed bead so that I form a loop with these beads, forming a sort of segment. I'm going to then pass back up through a 6mm bicone, then through all of these beads on the edge again, so starting from the size 15s, the size 11, the 4mm round, then the size 11s, the 2 size 15s, and finally the bicone, so that I've met my tail end. And I'm just going to tie a simple overhand knot using my tail and my working thread. Then I'm going to continue on in the circle and pass through the size 11 seed bead between the bicones, and down the next bicone. I'm going to add my next segment by passing through 2 size 15s, a size 11, 4mm round, size 11, 2 size 15s, and my 6mm bicone. And what we're going to do is wrap around and pass through the first 6mm bicone. So we're coming out of the second one here. We're going to wrap around and move to the next one. And when I pull those tight, that is what I should have. Now I'm going to finish the final gap by adding on 2 size 15s, 1 size 11, my last round, 1 size 11, and 2 size 15s. Coming out of this 6mm bead, I'm going to jump around until I reach the next one that doesn't have anything in between, and close that gap. So that is what I've ended up with. Next, I'm going to move through the size 11 in the center, then up through the next 6mm bicone. I'm going to add 1 size 11 seed bead, and then I'm going to move through all of the beads on the side, the 2 size 15s, the size 11, 4mm, size 11, 2 size 15s, till I've reached the next gap, so that I've wedged the size 11 in between the 2 size 15s. I'm going to add another size 11 seed bead, turn it around, and pass through the next set, where the 4mm round is. Add one more size 11 seed bead and move through the 4mm round set. We're going to go all the way around until we've gone through the size 11 that we've added in the very beginning of this round. So it's kind of loose at the moment, so what we're going to do to tighten this up is to add some decorations around the 4mm rounds. So I'm going to move through until I am at one of the 4mm rounds. I'm going to add 5 size 15 seed beads, and then pass through the size 11 in the center, so that we form one strand over the center like that. I'm going to add 5 more seed beads, size 15s, and pass through one side of the next 4mm bead, in between the 6mm bicone. Next, I'm going to work my way back around to the original 4mm. I'm going to add 2 size 15s, then I'm going to skip over 2 of the size 15s here, and go up through 3. And when I pull that, the 2 strands of size 15 split and wrap around the 4mm. Then I'm going to pass through the size 11 again in the center, go down 3 size 15 seed beads on that original strand, add on 2 size 15s, and then pass through the opposite side of the original 4mm round. Now we're going to move around until we've reached the last one here. So I'm going through the size 11, 2 15s, size 11, 2 15s, and your 4mm round. Once again, I'm going to add 5 size 15s. Then I'm going to pick up the size 11 in the center again. Then I'm going to go down 3 size 15s once more. Add on 2 size 15s and pass through the opposite side of our last 4mm round. And then we will have our finished component. Now all that's left to do is to add a few more decorations and add the bail as well. So I'm going to start off with the bail, working on this 4mm round. I'm going to add 3 size 15s, 1 size 11, 3 size 15s, and then pass back through that 4mm round so that the beads wrap around over that 4mm round. Then I'm going to reinforce that once more just by passing through all of those beads again. Then I want to move up towards the center size 11 seed bead. So I'm going to move up through the size 15 beads, then up through the size 11. I'm going to add 6 size 15 seed beads, then pass back around through that size 11 seed bead again. Then I'm going to reinforce it once and end up back through the size 11. Once I've done that, I'm going to travel back down, going down the 3 size 15s, and then through the 4mm bead that we started from. I'm going to continue adding my decorations. I'm going to travel through the next size 11, 2 size 15s, and my size 11. I'm going to add 3 size 15s, then pass back through the size 11, adding a little picot on top of that. Then I'm going to continue to travel until I'm at the point size 11 at the opposite side of our bail. So I've gone through the size 15s, size 11, the 4mm round, going through the size 11, 2 size 15s, and through the last size 11. Now we're going to add our drop piece. I'm going to add 3 size 15s, 1 size 11, 3 size 15s, then pass back through that size 11 in the center. Then we're going to do a little trick in order to make these points in the center pop out a bit. So coming out of the size 11 seed bead at the bottom of our little component, I'm going to pass through the very first size 15. I'm going to skip over the middle size 15 and pass through the third size 15. And when I pull that tight, I want to have the thread behind the middle one so that the middle one sticks outward. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to skip over the size 11, pass through the next single size 15 on the other side. I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to push my thread around so that my size 11 sticks out. I'm going to skip over the center size 15 on this side and pass through the last size 15 so that this center size 15 pops out and end up going back through the size 11 at the bottom of the component. Now I want to move down to the bottom size 11 seed bead, so I'm just going to pass through size 15 number 1 and size 15 number 3 on the left side and move through the size 11. Then we're going to add 3 size 15s, our teardrop 3 size 15s, pull that down and pass back through the size 11 at the tip to add our fringe drop. Now we're going to reinforce that just by passing through those beads again. going back through the size 11. Then from there, I'm going to pass through the first size 15 I encounter, skip over this center one, and go down through size 15, number 3 on the right side, and finish off by going through the very first size 11 that we started from. Now we're going to continue upward because we have one more little flourish to do. So I'm going to pass through the size 15, size 11, 4mm round, size 11, 2 size 15s, and my last size 11. So we end up coming out of the size 11, across the way from this picot here. We're going to add another picot. I've got 3 size 15s. I'm going to pass back through that same size 11 to add a picot on the opposite side. And all it's left to do is to finish our thread. So I'm just going to do that with half hitch knots. I'm going to go and dig my needle underneath until I've caught some thread in the beadwork. I'm going to pull through until I form a loop, pass my needle through that loop, pull tight. I'm going to move along the component again until I picked up a few more beads. Make another half hitch knot. I'm going to dig under the beadwork until I've captured a thread, pull my needle through until I form a loop, pass my needle through that loop, and pull tight. Then I'm going to go through a few more beads, and then cut my thread short. I'm going to do the same thing with my tail end, and then all it's left to do is to add my ear wire to my loop at the top, and then I will have my finished piece. Do this for a second piece to have a set of earrings, or just attach a jump ring to the tip of the bail and thread it onto a chain. You have a nice festive gift for someone in your life or yourself. You could have fun with the color combinations on this piece. We have more of a wintry themed one here, and we have more of a royal fancy color palette here. You can even experiment with the shapes of beads that you use in the component, as well as the outer edges. Instead of round crystals, you can also use pearls or other things in your stash. Once you get the hang of the pattern, these are really quick to throw together and great for those last-minute people on your holiday lists. And that will do it for this lesson. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the pattern. Feel free to leave comments down below as to what you thought about this design, as well as photos to your creations. We'd love to see what you have come up with. Be sure to check down in the description box for the full materials list and links to where you can purchase supplies. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe to Aura Crystals for more updates on new techniques and designs, and other tutorial projects such as this. And if you'd like to see more of my work, feel free to check me out at Odin's Musings right here on YouTube or at odinsbeadhall.com.